Hello everybody, what's up and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Regardless if you are new or a regular, I am so excited to talk makeup with you today. I have a dazzled or disappointed on a new product that I think some people were looking forward to. A lot of people probably weren't, but the new Norvina ABH Mini Pro Pigment Palette. So I've been testing this out. I've got thoughts for you, swatches for you. We're gonna put some makeup on together. So if you're curious to see if this palette is right for you, if it's kind of Valentine's Day friendly, then just keep on watching. Right, you guys, so I was very excited about this palette. I am truly a fan of the prior two minis. I do own those and I love them. So this was super hyped up for me. I was just ready for it to release, and then day one when it launched in store, I went to go pick it up. I want to give you a disclaimer on these palettes. They are very, very breakable. So the first two I had ordered during the fall or holiday sale, whatever it's called. And they both came in completely broken. I mean broken to the point where all of my other products in the box were completely covered in powder. So I pretty much knew I didn't want to order this one. I didn't want to risk it getting broken. So I thought I'll just wait the extra, like 4 days and just pick it up in store. No big deal. And that's what I did. So I wanted to just put that out there because if you are like me and you've had issues with products coming in broken, then you know that, you get me. So let's dive into the Sephora website for details on the product right quick. So it is a $29 palette. It does come with 9 pans of product. It is limited edition. I believe the other two minis are as well. However, my store was plenty stocked on them. And it says it's a limited edition mini color collection featuring high performance matte and metallic cherry shades handpicked by Norvina. Now, if you watched my Valentine's Day makeup that's kind of coming down the road, this was one of them, and I really do feel they timed this as kind of a Valentine's Day release. The theme is cherry. It's got a very red type of theme, and so I think this is in the line of Valentine's Day, even though there are some shades that would kind of throw you off to that. But anyways, it's free of parabens, cruelty-free, gluten-free, 9 full-size, high-performance cherry shades. Mini Norvina Pro Pigment Volume 3 offers the perfect color story to sweeten up the season, from red wine mattes to sparkling berry metallics. This flattering shade range lets you create any luscious makeup look you can dream up. This does have pressed pigments that are not safe for the eye area. I think it's just because of the staining. I tend to use them anyways, so I've not had an issue with any kind of staining or anything like that, but I figure I would let you know just so that you have that knowledge. Anyways, so a couple of other things to note. It is vegan. We already mentioned it's cruelty-free, and the shelf life is 18 months. Also, this is made in PRC, which is consistent with the other mini palettes. So let's go into the packaging. So super cute. Again, for a Valentine's lover like myself, I've loved Valentine's, honestly, since I was a kid. I don't know if it's because of the pink and the red. I don't know if it's just appealing because of the color scheme, or there's just a lot of fun things that release in general, not just makeup, because I didn't use makeup when I was a kid, but just in general, a lot of fun stuff, and I've really carried that to this day. So anyways, the packaging is super cute, and to me it does have a Valentine's type of theme, mainly because obviously the red cherries. The teal and the red, I think, go super, super cute together. And then the cherries are I don't know how to describe it to you. They do you see that little shift? I don't even know what that's called, but they're kind of foiled, super, super cute. I love it. And that stands true of the cover to the palette as well. It has that same type of metallic shift, I don't know what it's called, foiled, whatever, to the cherries. Very, very cute. I think this is probably my favorite packaging of the 3 minis. Hang on, let me get the other 2 and I'll kind of compare them for you as far as which cover is best. Okay guys, so Volume 1 looks like this. Volume 2 looks like this. reminds me of something out of the 70s or something, I don't know. And then volume 3 looks like this. Volume 3 is definitely my favorite out of the bunch. I think it's super cute. Again, I see a Valentine's theme kind of going on here, but that may just be me. You open this bad boy up and you do have the little mirror. Now, something to note that I really enjoy about this, I don't know if I noticed it about the first or the second one. Yeah, it does it these two. Okay, I never noticed it, but the cool thing is you open it up and it kind of stops like right there. That's kind of where it like has a little bit of resistance, but you push it back and it goes all the way back. It's really cool. I don't know what about that feature is so like intriguing to me, but anyways. So you do have 9 pans of product. So let me bring you in so that you can kind of see up close what these look like. So you definitely have a good array of mattes. You've got 6 mattes. Which is these two. Now this one right here, this pinky coral shade, is like a sequin shade. I call them sequins ever since Tati's palette came out. But anyways, sequin where it's like matte, but it's got like little sparkles. But the sparkles technically like fall off when you're blending. So to me, it's like a matte. But anyways, and then these 3 up here are definitely not mattes. You have I don't even know what you would call this. You're going to see it in the demo. But it does have a shift to it. This one is chunky and sparkly, and this one is a pressed glitter, and it is very beautiful. So let me go ahead and start you off with swatches. Let's go through those, and that way we can get into the demo portion of this review. Okay, so just something to note. I'm probably going to have to go to the store and swap this out. So literally as I was grabbing swatches, the glitter pan completely fell out of the palette. So that's something to note. Quality control check. Anyways, okay, so these don't have any kind of names. They're literally A1, A2, A3. So we'll go through them like that. In fact, let me just let you know this is the top row right here. So A1, A2, A3. And this blue, I feel like brands have done this before. So it's not something to me that's out of the ordinary. And I hope you can see that glitter swatch. Let me get you a little bit more. Y'all know, if you're used to my channel, I'm horrible at swatching glitter. And so I definitely want to be able to give you the visual of what it looks like, because there is a whole lot going on in the color scheme of that glitter. It's very, very pretty. It's got like a strong rose gold tone. However, there is a lot going on as far as gold and kind of green and very, very pretty, but obviously, you know, the pan of product can't stay in there. It wants to have a party outside of the palette. So let's go ahead and move on to row number 2. Right, here we go with B1, B2, B3. This is what seems to me a true red. If you've watched my Natasha Denona Love palette review, then you know there is a shade in there that was marketed as being a true red and ended up being kind of a red pink once placed on the eye. So we'll get into this red here in a little bit. Lastly, we've got C1, C2, and C3. This row, or at least these 2 shades, these 2 shades can kind of throw you off as for being like a Valentine's Day palette. That's where I say there's a couple of shades thrown in here that would kind of, okay, this confuses me a little bit, but I think there's a reason for that. I think this was marketed for Valentine's and the main theme is, but I think there's a couple of other shades in there to help allow you to transition it into the spring, for example. I don't know. That's just my thought process. I'm probably totally wrong on that. But that's what the 3rd row looks like right there. Okay guys, so that brings us to the end of the swatch portion of this video. Hopefully you found that helpful and it kind of showed you whether this color scheme is right for you and, you know, maybe just the opacity, things like that. Although, can't really tell until you put it on the eyes. So let's get into the demo portion of the video so that you can see, like, literally as I'm applying it, how it works for me. And then we'll go into final thoughts after that. All right, my friends, we're going to start off with the shade B3. This is the pinky shade of the bunch. It's what I would consider to be a sequin shade. It has those little flecks of sparkle that will kind of dust off when you buff the shade in. This is a really great color as far as placing it down. I would have been good with one layer, but you know, I typically go in with a couple, but it lays down really, really nicely. Next up, I'm going to go in with the shade B1 and a blending brush as well. I'm going to place this just a little bit lower, and this is the shade that really is like a true red to the palette. So I'm deepening it up, I'm adding that Valentine's Day kind of vibe, just to make it even more red, I guess you could say. Next, it's time to go in with the shade A3. This one I'm using my finger because I find that these types of shades just work better when I lay them with a finger, and then if I need to add a little bit more down the road, I can. So I did go in with a couple of layers because if not, then it kind of makes my eyelid look a little bald. So just placing as much as I can. Now it's time to go in with a little bit on a brush so that I can get into those little areas that I couldn't with my finger. I have kind of stubby fingers, so they don't always reach into certain places of my lid. Next up, I'm going to go in with the deeper red. It's shade C1. And I'm going to place this on the outer portion of my lid. This is just to kind of deepen it up and really just add more, I don't know, more shades. The more the merrier. So just adding a little bit more, not smoking it out, I don't know what you'd call it. Oh well. Moving on to the glitter glue. Placing this in the middle because I am going to go in with that glitter shade, which is A2, and just using my finger for that as well. Now it's really nice. It's like a loose glitter, but it's packed into the pan, and it just really, really goes on nicely. It's a beautiful rose gold color with a ton of multi-flecks, like multicolor. Now going back in with the blue shade and that same brush just to kind of mold everything together, just so that it doesn't look super separated. Next, going back in with that red shade called C1 and placing that also again, placing that over that same shade that I did earlier. I'm going to do liner and lashes, and lastly I'm going into the inner corner with that very first shade, which is A1. After I was editing this video, I realized that the most this shade reminds me of is that shade from the Divine Rose palette by Pat McGrath. Reminds me so much of that palette, or that shade. Alright guys, this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found it easy to follow. Alright guys, let's go ahead and go into final thoughts at this point. So first off, let's start with the packaging. I already told you, I love it. I think this is super, super cute. I like unique. I like things that are different, that I haven't seen before, that are not in my collection, that kind of thing, and I think this fits that description. I very much like this packaging. Obviously, I'm not crazy about the fact that the glitter already popped out. It's still pretty new, and so I've got some Gorilla Glue downstairs, so I may end up just doing that instead of, I mean, the product is fine. I hate having to make a trip to swap this out if I really don't have to. So let's go ahead and go into the, I'm not going to tip it over too much because here, let's do this. So anyways, let's go ahead and go into the mattes because that's where I usually start. These mattes perform just as well as the other Pro Pigment palettes. Now, I feel like people have a love-hate relationship with these palettes. One, because they released late last year, they released them so consistently and so like they didn't allow any time or any time for people to recover before, you know, by purchasing one before releasing the next ones. Like literally it was back to back to back. And I think that burned people out. I think it turned people off to the brand and the palettes or the series or whatever you want to call it. I, for one, loved the collection, and for me it was something that was right up my alley, so I had no issues with it. But I also think there are certain things about the performance of these eyeshadows that people just are kind of meh, you know, not over the moon for. So as far as the mattes though, again, I loved the first two, and these perform right in accordance with those. pigmented, easy to blend, as you saw in the demo with the crease. I really could have done just one layer in my crease and moved on because it did give me good pigmentation. But I kind of like to go in a couple of times with certain shades just because sometimes I like to make it even more rich, and that's why I did that. But as far as the pigmentation, very easy, not patchy, just smooth to blend, didn't drag or nothing. It was so nice. Just using the mattes are very easy, which is big, because if you've got something that's hard to use, frustrating, then obviously that's a big turn off. So let's move up to the shades on the top row. Now this white shade that I used in the inner corner, that's probably all I'll ever use it for. These types of shades are not my favorites. They're kind of, I don't know, lackluster for one, because they can look kind of powdery. I think the strongest appeal is probably like the very strong shift. The strongest appeal is the strong shift, because it does have that shift, but truly I don't see myself using this on the lid. So that one I could take or leave. The pressed glitter is absolutely stunning, and I've told y'all before so many times that ABH glitters are pretty much one of my very favorites. I think when it comes to loose glitter and pack glitter, they do it right. And I loved the one in the Amrezy palette, or I think there's two in there. Loved. And so I really would rank Anastasia or ABH glitters as probably being my favorite. They're just, again, easy to use, beautiful shades. I feel like they have varied it up enough by now so to where they've got like probably the best array of glitter shades out there. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but this is very unique. I don't have any kind of glitter shade like this in my collection, and I love that it's packed into a pan. I love when brands do that because it's kind of a one-stop shop. I don't have to reach for my loose glitters, for my little, you know, the little container. It's already here and I'm good to go. Grab my ABH glitter glue and let's move on. The last one is this blue that I say I've seen in palettes before. I wouldn't say I'm absolutely over the moon for it. I also don't dislike it. I think it's pretty. I think it can be a little bit piecey. It can leave a little bit of bald spots on your lid. So ideally, it's best to go over top of another shadow so that you're just kind of layering and adding that intensity, that metallic, that just rich, I don't know, that rich blue. I think it's beautiful. It's very sparkly. It's a very pretty shade, but it does have that element of not being as opaque, and maybe that wasn't the intent. Maybe it was meant to be like a topper or layered, but that's, I like it. I don't love it. So that being said, overall, really there's only two shades, one that I really could do without and one that I like, I just don't love. So, but overall, I really love this palette. The mattes do what I want them to do. The glitter is so amazing, and the blue, I will get use out of it. I think it looks beautiful. It's just learning how to use it in the different ways that can really make it achieve its true potential. The red in this palette that I mentioned before does, on me, stay a true red, which is what I wanted in the Natasha Denona Love palette. So I'm happy to have one in my collection that really just stays red. I told you before, like my mom will even tell me when I wear red shadow, it makes you look sick. But there's something about the shade. I love red on the eyes. I don't know. Something about it is just so appealing to me. So I'm very excited to say that the red in this palette, at least on me, stays true red. So that's a big one. This is a Dazzled for me. I love it. $29, and it is 9 full-size pans of product, just like the Huda, the little minis, but they are full-size pans of product. I love this. I think it's a great deal. If this is your color story, if you like ease in blendability and rich pigmentation, if you like the fact that there's pressed glitters in your palettes, I think this is right up your alley, and I think this is a great option for a Valentine's Day palette. All right, my friends, thanks again for sticking out this video with me. Thanks for chatting about makeup. It's one of the things I really love to do. All right, guys, before I let you go, I want to just leave you with a quick and encouraging verse of the day in an effort to motivate you, encourage you, hopefully put a smile on your face, and just to let you know that Jesus loves you and I love you so very much. I may not know you, but I love chatting via this way with you, you know, via these videos. So we may not personally know each other, but just know that I do pray for you and I love you and Jesus loves you. Today's comes from Psalm 119:18, and it says, "Open my eyes to see the wonderful truths in your instructions." All right, my friends, I'll see you in the next one. Take care and have a wonderful rest of your day. See you soon.